Welcome back to the stock portfolio update videos. This week, my stock portfolio is sitting at just under $134,000. So it's down for the last week, but I'm going to be showing you what I've been doing in my stock portfolio and my kind of outlook in the short term as we do face these geopolitical risks. Just to start off, my stake portfolio is sitting at over $72,000, which of nearly 21,000 of that is the gains. And then I have my Vanguard portfolio, which is sitting at just under $62,000. And I have two positions of VGS, which is an international shares ETF, and then V5AH, which is just the S&P 500 tracking ETF that's also hedged against the Australian dollar. So these are my two positions. In my stake portfolio, if you've never seen before, I hold Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and VOO. Again, another S&P tracking ETF. And these are kind of my key holdings across both the portfolios. So you can see I have 6 holdings, and this is kind of how it's broken up across the two, with 98% of my Australian portfolio being the one and 2% being in the new position, as I only just opened this position last week. So this is all new. That's why I can't even link it yet, because they haven't updated it. And then I have my American portfolio, where you can see around 40% is in VOO, and then anywhere from 18 to 23% is across those other 3 key holdings. Over time, you can also see how my portfolios have done. A lot of this is dollar cost averaging. I've been investing now for a few years, I was investing before this, but this is only when I started tracking it. So I'm around 5 years into my investment journey, a bit over, and I've been able to build these portfolios on a fairly modest income over a period of time while still enjoying my life. So today I'm going to just be giving an update. So things are a bit worse this week than they were last week. So if we have a look at Amazon, Amazon's down nearly 3% in the last week, and this is a key holding for me. So sitting at around 11,700 USD, which is around 56 shares. I'm pretty flat on it, but I have been buying in more and more just to kind of build this position whilst it's down. I think it's trading at a fairly cheap PE ratio for myself. Obviously do your own research, but for me, Amazon's a company I believe in long term. I think their white and blue collar business will benefit from AI, and I think they're just a great company to hold long term. Next is Google. Google's one that I built and I did really well on for a period. You can see the stock was up 85% in the last year. I'm up around 83%, and I'm just holding on because similar to Amazon, I think long term this is a great company to have in my portfolio. Third individual stock is Microsoft. Microsoft has had a very flat year, not the best year, and at a period where it was quite well in the 500s, 540, but it's really pulled back. You can see I'm only around 10% up now in Microsoft after I've been building the position. If we have a look at the last month, you can see it's flat, and the last week is down around 4%, so that's why my portfolio is a bit more in the red. And then VOO just tracks the S&P 500, and if we have a look at the last week, again 2%, last month around 3% down. So I've been using this as an opportunity to buy in. So I did a few videos. I've invested around, I think it's like 13 grand into my portfolios, just to kind of hopefully use this opportune time to buy into companies that I believe in long term. Speaking of that, so I created this new position, which is just the Vanguard S&P 500 US shares index. So Vanguard released these to Australian investors on Vanguard Australia. So I figured I'd start building a position in this as it's what I've wanted to buy. I decided to go for the hedged version. So the hedged version is just to help with my portfolio fluctuations, because one of the things I've seen is in my other positions, they've had good gains, but the Australian dollar's also had good gains. So it's kind of netting out. So this can hopefully help me long term. As you can see, it's an S&P 500 US tracking ETF that's Australian dollar hedged. So hopefully this will be good for me. Again, it's a very small position at the moment, only 1,600, and it's very new. As you can see, there hasn't been much trading on it. It only just got released. So long term, I think this should be a good holding for me. And I plan to build this up as I build this portfolio, Vanguard portfolio, to 100 grand. Hopefully I can have this as around a $15,000 to $20,000 position. And regarding my stake portfolio, I don't think I'm going to change anything at the moment. I'm just going to keep putting a bit of money in. You can see I've got around $15 in buying power. That's because I did receive a dividend from Microsoft. I think it was around 12 USD after the 15% tax. So not much, but like I always say, my dividends are just reinvested back into the portfolio, so I can hopefully have that snowball effect. If we have a look at my Excel spreadsheet, you can see kind of the progression over time. And even though we've had up and downs recently, and even started last year with Liberation Day, long term I think I'll still do fine. I think my portfolio is still geared for the long term. If we have a look at my dividends, obviously I'll update this at the end of the month. I do this every month, but this is kind of just how things are looking over time. I think I'm heading in the right direction. If I can get this portfolio to around $150,000 before the end of the year, I'll be quite happy. I think if I go really aggressively, I could, and the markets are hopefully in my favor. Obviously, I can't control what's happening in the world with wars and trade issues. But again, I can just control what I can control. I think I could get this to even 160 or greater thousand, which really helps kind of build this over time as I can kind of build this nest egg of how things are going. Overall, if I am going to be putting more money in, I'm probably going to be putting it into my Vanguard position and putting it into this US ETF, as I have been putting a fair amount of money into my Vanguard, my stake portfolio. And if we kind of have a look at how things are going, in the last year, it's up around 19%. Again, this is in USD, and because the Australian dollar's appreciated versus the USD, it's not as much when I bring it back to Australian dollars, if that makes sense. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you are an investor who's investing over multiple currencies in different countries. You just have to be aware of your FX risk, and there's benefits obviously in your currency getting stronger. It means I can go, like for example, last year I went on a holiday to the US and I ended up spending a bit of money. It would have been better if I went this year because the Australian dollar is stronger, but it also means I can buy more stocks. So when I'm putting money into my portfolio, I can kind of benefit from being able to invest more. But you can see there was a period here in 2022 where I was in the negatives around 20%, and it was a long period here. It's only recently been where my portfolio's kind of shot up, and you can see there was that big drop around Liberation Day. And then since then I've kind of been on a tear, and then the start of this year again there's been another retraction, but I'm using this as a buying opportunity, as I think this is a good time to really diversify and build positions that I really believe in my portfolio. So feel free to share how your portfolios are doing. This was just a quick update video on how I'm doing. Just try to do them weekly so I can hold myself accountable, as I have been kind of slack lately. But feel free to share how you're doing and what you think I should be buying. Cheers.